Introduction to Prompting. Welcome to the next stage of mastering DeepSeek. In this unit, we'll focus on prompt engineering, a skill for crafting prompts, questions or instructions that guide AI responses effectively. What is prompt engineering? Prompting is about questions or instructions that guide any AI, DeepSeek included, to clear responses. Why prompting is important? Guidance is crucial because while AI excels in language generation, it lacks real-world experience and common sense. Therefore, the quality of the DeepSeek outputs will directly depend on what and how you write in your query. In other words, recipe ingredients matter. Like a dish, an AI response suffers if the prompt is built poorly. Components of an effective prompt. A strong prompt includes instructions and details for guidance. Thus, it will improve AI's interpretation and lead to more accurate results. Here are two examples that will lead to different response quality. Vague prompt. Write about marketing. Clear prompt. Write a LinkedIn post with marketing tips for small business owners to boost their reach. The core principle of clear prompts. The foundation of any good prompt is a clear purpose. When crafting a prompt, it's essential to clarify what you want the AI to do and why. How to establish purpose. Convey purpose by starting with a specific verb and noun, adding context where needed. Here are some examples. List common challenges of niche, generate a catchy headline, write a LinkedIn post, expand this email. Adding intent. In your prompt, like generate a headline to increase traffic, aligns AI with your goal. With these foundations covered, it's time to apply these skills practically. What are the components of an effective prompt? Select all that apply. Clear instructions. Relevant details. Specific purpose. Ambiguous phrasing. Which of the following prompts establish a clear purpose? Select all that apply. Explain how social media impacts startup growth. List 3 beginner marketing tips for small businesses to increase online engagement. Tell me about technology. Describe marketing. Explain photosynthesis in simple terms for a middle school science project. Write a story about a squirrel exploring a magical forest. Fun facts about space? I enjoy learning about animals. Great job! Mastered the fundamentals of prompting. You prepared yourself for next challenges. But for now, let's recap what was learned in this lesson. Making your prompts more powerful. Ready to take your prompts to the next level? Let's discover how adding the right details can transform basic queries into powerful instructions that get you exactly what you need from DeepSeek. Why details matter. Think of prompts like giving directions. The difference between go to the store and take the first right, walk 2 blocks to the grocery store is huge, right? The same applies to AI prompts. As we discussed, the more specific context you provide, the better results you'll get. From basic to brilliant. Let's look at how adding context transforms a simple prompt. Basic. Tell me about weather trends. Better. Analyze weather trends in the Pacific Northwest for 2025. Notice how the second prompt includes 3 key details. What? Weather trends. Where? Pacific Northwest. When? 2025. Which prompt would likely provide more actionable insights? Research market growth in sustainable fashion for Gen Z consumers in urban Asia, 2024 to 2025. Look up market growth. Tell me about fashion trends. Research Asian markets. Essential context elements. When crafting your prompts, consider including these key details. Time frame, when. Location, where. Industry or field, what sector. Target audience, for whom. Let's see how this works in practice. Compare these two prompts. Basic, give me marketing strategies. Better, suggest social media marketing strategies for a small wellness brand targeting millennials in Canada for Q1 2025. The power of specificity. Adding context isn't just about making prompts longer, it's about making them smarter. Basic, what are the market trends? Better, what are the emerging market trends for sustainable consumer goods in Europe for 2025, focusing on plastic-free packaging? Which contextual element most significantly improves a business-related prompt? Target market and time frame combination. Specifying CEO's favorite shade of blue, office location, employee names. Of course, not all details are equally important. Just like specifying CEO's favorite shade of blue won't be of any help when crafting a prompt for business analysis. Focus on the information that directly impacts the answer you need. The key is to ask yourself, will this detail change the answer? Is this information relevant to my goal? Would different contexts lead to different results? Avoiding mistakes. Be careful not to overload your prompts. Too many unnecessary details can confuse the AI. For instance, when asking about customer service, this would be an overwhelming prompt. Provide customer service tips for a small, family-owned, 3-employee, downtown-located, recently painted blue bookstore that sells mainly mystery novels and has a cat named Whiskers. Suggest customer service strategies for a small, independent bookstore targeting mystery readers. Well done. Before wrapping up, remember these questions that you need to ask yourself before adding details to your prompt. What specific outcome do I want? Who is this for? When and where is this relevant? What industry-specific details matter? The key here is to understand that the goal is not to add as many details as possible, but to include the right ones that will guide AI to your desired outcome. Layering and comparison. Techniques. Ready to elevate your AI skills? In this lesson, we'll explore two powerful prompting techniques that help get deeper, more comprehensive insights from DeepSeek. Let's dive in. Understanding advanced techniques. Before diving into practice, let's understand what makes these techniques advanced and why they're worth mastering. The thing is that while basic prompts are good for simple tasks, complex research or analysis needs a more sophisticated approach. Technique 1. Prompt layering. Layered prompting is like having a conversation that gets gradually deeper. Instead of asking everything at once, you break your query into connected steps. Why does this work better? Because AI, like humans, processes information more effectively when complex problems are broken down into smaller parts. Instead of asking one big question, break your research into connected steps. This helps DeepSeek focus on each aspect separately while maintaining context. What's the main advantage of breaking down complex queries? It helps AI process information more effectively. It makes prompts longer. It requires more technical terms. It uses more computer power. Layering in action. Here's how to analyze a market opportunity using layered prompts. Layer 1. What is the current market size for plant-based meat alternatives in Southeast Asia in 2024? Layer 2. Based on this market size, who are the top 3 competitors and their market share? Layer 3. For these competitors, What are their primary consumer demographics? Try it yourself with another layered prompt in the next exercise. Well done! As you can see, each layer narrows the focus while building on previous information, leading to a specific, actionable conclusion. Otherwise, if the prompt was not layered, the answers would not have been as focused as they are now. Technique 2. Comparative analysis. Our second advanced technique is comparison prompting. This method helps uncover insights by examining differences and similarities between elements. Why compare? Because seeing how things relate to each other often reveals insights that studying them in isolation might miss. For example, instead of just asking about a product, compare the adoption rates of electric vehicles in urban versus rural areas in 2024, considering infrastructure availability, consumer demographics, price sensitivity. What makes comparative prompts valuable? They reveal relationships and patterns between elements. They use more words. They sound more professional. They take longer to write. Combining both techniques. Now, let's see how layering and comparison work together. Layer 1. Compare market penetration of mobile payment systems in China versus India in 2024. Layer 2. For both markets, analyze user demographics and preferred payment scenarios. Layer 3. Based on this data, predict growth trends for 2025. This combined approach helps you build a thorough understanding while keeping each step focused and manageable. Now, what's the best way to combine layering and comparison? Use technical jargon. Start broad with comparison, then layer deeper analysis. Add random comparisons. Skip the comparison part. Good job. Now, you are ready to apply these techniques to your own projects. Yet, before doing so, let's recap the key tips from this lesson.